What in the world is going on, people of YouTube? I'm Steven with Purpose Lens Photo and Media, and today we're going to be talking about audio and why it's important. Now, if you're new to video, then maybe you may not have heard of how important audio is, but if you are not new to video, then you probably have heard how important audio is. And today we're going to break down how to get great audio, and we're going to answer the question, do you need to be an expert? And do you have to have the latest gear to get great audio? So first, let's start with what is great audio? Well, there are two parts to great audio. That is the way it's used and the actual quality of the audio itself. Now, when I say the way it's used, what do I mean by that? Well, audio has a purpose within video. It allows you to tell your story and it supports the video that you're showing. Now, sometimes it can give you context to things before you even see them, and it can tell you what environment someone is in. It could be an echo, it could be reverb, it could be many different aspects of the audio that put you in a place, and it tells you what that character is supposed to be doing. Now, I'm gonna show you a really brief clip. This is from my video of the Sony E-10 being discontinued. And I'm going to show you a little part of how I did this audio and what my aim was with the audio. So check it out. Now, if you notice in the beginning, you didn't see much, but you did hear more than you saw. It started with the music, then you heard the breathing, and you heard some clanking around of some materials. So although you didn't know exactly what was going on, it gave you context to what was happening when you saw it. So you didn't have to realize what was going on. You understand that this man was stressed. You understood that he was breathing heavy, and maybe he didn't feel that well because you could hear him breathing and things were a little bit off with him. So when you saw him on camera, you knew what state this man was in. And this is what audio is supposed to do. That's when it comes to the use of audio. Now, the second portion of audio is the actual quality of the audio. And when I say quality, I mean audio that is free from buzzing, cracking, wind noise, and anything that would actually take your attention away from what's going on. Now, an example of bad audio would be if you're outside and you have a mic on you and there's a bunch of wind noise and you can't really understand what I'm saying. This is bad quality audio. Or if I'm sitting in a room recording a video like this and the microphone is really far away from me and it sounds like I'm far back in the room, that is an example of bad audio. Let me demonstrate that for you. This would be an example of audio that is not good. The camera is not too far from me, but the mic is on the camera. And because it's not as close, it sounds like I'm really far away and it's a little bit harder to hear. This is an example of bad audio. But let's go back to the better audio. So as you see, using a good microphone and using proper mic placement, you can get great audio. And when the audio is good, it doesn't take your attention away from the video. But when the audio is bad, it actually pulls your attention away from the video. Well, that brings us to the question, do I need to be an expert to get great audio? Well, audio can get very complex very quickly, just like videography and photography. From EQ, mic placement, standing waves, gating, sidechain compression, different tube amplifiers, all these things can come into play and it can get very complex very quickly, but you do not need to be an expert to get great audio. But what you do need in order to get great audio is an understanding of how audio works, a basic understanding, and you need to know what it is that you're trying to achieve with what you're recording. You also need to know what can get you good audio and what to stay away from so that you don't get bad audio. So the first thing I want to deal with is microphones, since these are generally what we use to pick up audio. Now, I'm not going to go deep into microphones and the different types and what you should buy, but I'm just going to give you a short, quick overview of the different type of microphones that you find in video production and which one is best for what use. There are two common types of microphone. One is a lavalier mic. This mic is a mic that clips onto you, and it's a little tiny capsule that clips on either under your lapel. Sometimes it can even be under a hat. Sometimes it can be under your collar. It could be anywhere near the chest area, but we want to aim it towards your mouth. The benefit of these is the microphone stays close to the person, and you're always going to get a really decent sound, provided that you connect the microphone properly and you put it in a correct spot. Now, you can even put these microphones under your clothes, and you can use moleskin so that your clothes don't rub up against it and things like that. Now, these are great microphones, and they're used widely in the industry. Now, they're good for if you're somewhere like indoors and things like that. People really like to use these because, again, the microphone stays close to you. This is a wireless system by which there's a transmitter and there's a receiver. When you speak into the microphone, your microphone will transmit to a receiver somewhere else that's either plugged into your camera, into your audio recorder, or whatever device you're using to record. That information will go from your transmitter to your receiver, and it will be recorded on whatever device you're using. Now, one of the downsides to this microphone here is the fact that you have to get the placement correctly. If you don't get the placement right, then you'll have rustling of the clothes. And the other part of this is if you have a microphone system where the cord gets frayed and it gets damaged, then you'll have a lot of noise and things like that. And that doesn't sound good, and that defeats the whole purpose of having a lavalier mic. Now, the other thing with a lavalier mic is you have to make sure that on the other end that there's no interference. Because this is wireless, some of these work on 802.11b, which is a Wi-Fi standard. Some of them work on UHF, VHF, and the list goes on and on and on. Like I said, I'm not gonna get really deep into these, but just know that you have to know a little bit about what you're doing when you set this microphone up. Now, the second type of microphone is called a shotgun microphone. I personally love shotgun microphones a lot because of the sound quality that you can get, and I just like the way they work. They're really simple. Now, most shotgun microphones are in an XLR configuration, and that is just basically it connects with a cable that has 3 pins in it that go to another device. Now, this can go directly into a recorder. This can also go into another female connector, which goes into a 3.5 jack, and that can go directly into your camera. Now, what I like about this is you get less interference because it's not wireless. Now, the only downside about these is you have to have a long cord. And generally with these, you also have to have some way to power it. Now, this one that I'm using here uses something called phantom power, which means the device that it's plugged into actually powers the microphone. But if you don't have a device that has phantom power, then you can use a AA battery, which creates the power for this microphone. So you do have to carry around batteries just like you would with your lavalier mic. Now, shotgun mics are meant to be close, but not on the body. The closer to the mouth that you can get a shotgun mic, the better it's going to sound. The other reason I really love shotgun mics is because shotgun mics actually make the room that you're in sound realistic. Lavalier mic is going to be right up on you, and you're just gonna hear the voice. Now, it's good for clarity of the voice, these lav mics, but if you want, like if you're doing a movie and you want it to sound like the room you're in, a shotgun mic is going to be leaps and bounds above lavalier mics, in my opinion. Now, the good thing about this mic is you can place it above you, you could place it below you, and they are really good, these shotgun mics, at rejecting sound from behind them. So if you're gonna be doing something outside where there's traffic going by and things like that, a shotgun mic works very well. Now, you can use shotgun mics indoors as well, but they work really well outdoors. Now, one of the things you're gonna want for both of these type microphones is something called a dead cat. Now, dead cat is a weird name for everything, but what a dead cat will do is it will cut down on that wind noise we were talking about. So if you're outside and the wind is blowing, you want to put a dead cat on because this is going to stifle the wind and slow it down and spread it out so that you don't get that loud ruffling noise over your microphone. So those are the two type of microphones that I like, are the lavalier and the shotgun. Now there are many different mics out there, and within these type of mics, there are different type of mic capsules and pickup patterns, but we won't get into that right now. But just know that those are the two types of mic that are generally used in video production. Now, one of the other parts of getting great audio is not just your mic and your mic placement, but also controlling the gain of your microphone. Now, what does that mean? Just like your sensor, you have an ISO that you set. Now, if you set your ISO too high, then you'll get grain and things will be blown out. If you set it too low, you'll get grain and things will be really dark and you won't see anything. And both result in a loss of information. Well, the same is true for audio when it comes to setting your gain. Just like your ISO, if you set your gain too high, then your sound will be distorted and it'll sound like this. Now, distortion is a thing you don't want to have because distortion is basically destroyed audio. Now, the other thing with audio is if you set your gain too high, then whatever device you're recording with will actually clip off the sound at a certain dB, which is really bad and you don't want that. To avoid that, you want to do tests prior to recording. You want to get loud and then you want to get soft and you want to set your gain to the perfect spot. Now, typically I like to record up to about -6 dB. Now I have room after that to play with it. Now we can get into floating point recording and things like that, but I'm not going to talk about that just yet because that's a little bit deeper than what I want to get to. But what I will say is this audio thing can get really complex really quickly, but I just want to give you guys the basics. So what would I recommend for different type of mics to buy? Well, if you're vlogging and things like that, any of the video Rode mics are going to be really good. I would suggest one that is powered, like we talked about before, which is something like the Video Mic Pro. You can put a battery in this one, you can set your gain, and you're going to get really good audio. Again, make sure you get a dead cat with this. A dead cat is going to, again, cut down on the wind noise so that you're not having to worry about when the wind blows and things like that. Now, if you want to go with wireless, a good mic to go with is the Rode Wireless Go. This is a really good mic. Now, you'll see it sometimes in the shots. It's a square mic that you place right here, but it's really simple to set up. It doesn't cost a lot of money and you could get really good sound out of it. And I've heard very good things about it. I have an older Rode wireless microphone system that works pretty good, and I use it from time to time whenever I need something wireless. Now, if you have questions about microphones and things like that, leave them down below, and I may make another video on audio, but I just want to put this out there to see what you guys like. Tell me what you guys use for your audio and how you think it compares to other things out there. But until next time, I'll holla at y'all later. I'm out. Peace.